You can do 1,000 things for her. You can pay the bills, fix the car, carry the heavy groceries, plan the vacations, even buy her the most expensive gifts. But here's the truth no one wants to admit: none of those things guarantee loyalty. Why? Because women don't stay loyal to the actions themselves, they stay loyal to the emotional connection behind those actions. Let me explain. Doing something for someone without emotional connection is like giving them a wrapped gift box that's empty inside. It might look impressive at first glance, but the moment they open it, there's nothing of value there. A woman can feel when the action is empty. She knows when it's performed out of duty, obligation, or even guilt. And while she may appreciate the gesture, it won't anchor her heart. What anchors her is how that action made her feel, and whether it aligned with your presence, your intention, and your authenticity. Think about it when you take her out to dinner. It's not about the food on the plate. It's about whether you're present at the table. Are you scrolling your phone between bites, or are you asking questions, listening, laughing, engaging? The act of paying for dinner doesn't secure loyalty. But the feeling of being seen, being valued, being prioritized, that's what she remembers. You can mow the lawn, fix the sink, or drive her to work every day. Those are all great actions. But if while doing them you're cold, distant, or resentful, the action loses its meaning. It becomes mechanical. And here's what a lot of men missed. Women are deeply attuned to intention. They can sense whether what you did came from love or from performance. It's not that actions don't matter. They do. But the action alone isn't the thing. It's the soul behind the action that carries weight. For example, imagine you buy her flowers after a fight. If you just toss them at her like, "Here, I got these, are we good now?" Do you think she feels connected? No. Because what she feels is a transaction. She feels like you're using an action to cover up a gap you don't want to address emotionally. But if you bring her flowers with eye contact, an apology, and words that acknowledge her feelings, suddenly, the same action carries a completely different meaning. Women don't stay loyal because of what you check off a list. They stay loyal because they feel emotionally tethered to you. They feel safe. They feel understood. They feel that your actions are not hollow performances, but living proof of your care. And this is where so many relationships fall apart. A man works hard, provides for the family, sacrifices his comfort, and then he's frustrated when she doesn't show loyalty in return. He says, "After everything I do for you, why isn't that enough?" The reason is simple: you've been doing things, but not connecting through them. The bills are paid, the house is standing, the tasks are handled, but her emotional needs are starving. And when that part of her goes unfed, loyalty becomes fragile. You see, emotional connection isn't optional. It's not an accessory. It's the core. If your actions don't carry connection, then no matter how big or impressive they are, they'll feel like noise. But even the smallest actions, when filled with genuine presence and love, can build unshakable loyalty. Holding her hand during a stressful moment, looking her in the eye when she shares her day, saying thank you for the little things she does. Those are not grand gestures, but they are packed with connection. Let me make it even clearer. Imagine a man comes home after working late. He's exhausted, but before collapsing, he asks his partner, "How was your day?" And he actually listens. He doesn't just nod and wait for his turn to talk, he listens. That single act, though small, communicates, "Even in my tiredness, you matter. Your world matters." That creates loyalty. Why? Because she feels emotionally connected. On the other hand, imagine another man who comes home, drops an expensive gift on the counter, and says, "See, I take care of you." Maybe she smiles, maybe she says thank you, but deep down, she knows the gift is standing in for something else: attention, presence, care. Over time, the absence of connection will outweigh the presence of the gift. This is the truth most men don't want to face. Women aren't loyal to your actions. They're loyal to the meaning behind them. Actions without emotional connection are like words without truth. They don't stick, they don't last, they don't build trust. So here's the shift: don't just do. Connect through what you do. Don't just check boxes, fill them with presence. When you show up emotionally inside your actions, when you make her feel respected, safe, and valued through even the smallest gestures, you create loyalty that no amount of money or performance could ever buy. Because in the end, it's not what you did for her that she'll remember. It's how what you did made her feel. Loyalty isn't built on what you do once in a while. It's built on what you do every single day. You can't vanish for weeks, emotionally or physically, and then expect one big gesture to secure her loyalty. Consistency is the currency of trust. Without it, even the grandest actions feel like illusions. Think about it. If you show up once with roses, but the rest of the time you're cold and distracted, what will she remember? Not the roses. She'll remember the emptiness between them. If you take her on a lavish vacation, but the rest of the year she feels invisible, what sticks. Not the plane tickets. What sticks is the loneliness in the quiet moments at home. Loyalty doesn't form from occasional fireworks. It's formed in the steady glow of a flame that doesn't go out. Women don't want perfection, they want consistency. It doesn't mean you need to perform at 100% all the time. It means they need to know who they can expect to show up. If today you're loving and engaged, but tomorrow you're distant and dismissive, that unpredictability erodes trust. It creates a question mark in her heart. And loyalty cannot grow in uncertainty. Loyalty grows where there is steadiness. Picture it like this: loyalty is like a bank account. You don't build it with one giant deposit. You build it with small, regular investments. A text that says, "Thinking of you." A phone call in the middle of the day to check in. Showing up when you say you'll show up. Following through on promises, even the small ones. Each act repeated creates compound interest and trust. And over time, that trust hardens into loyalty. Now, inconsistency is dangerous because it sends mixed signals. If one moment you're all in and the next you disappear, it confuses her emotional world. And when people feel uncertain, they don't anchor, they drift. A woman isn't going to stay loyal to a rhythm she can't count on. Because loyalty isn't about the highs, it's about the stability of the ground she stands on with you. And here's the hard truth: inconsistency makes her feel like she has to earn your attention. One day you're present, and the next you're absent, so she's left wondering what version of you she'll get tomorrow. That emotional roller coaster doesn't create loyalty, it creates exhaustion. A woman will not stay loyal to someone who makes her constantly question whether she matters today. She stays loyal to the man who makes her feel secure every day. Consistency doesn't mean you never make mistakes. You will. You'll get tired, distracted, frustrated. But consistency means you correct, you return, you realign quickly. It means your words and actions are in sync often enough that she can trust your character. When she sees that your presence is not conditional, that even on your bad days you still choose respect and care, that's when loyalty deepens. Think of it like exercise. One day at the gym doesn't make you strong. A month of hard work followed by 6 months of neglect doesn't either. Strength comes from showing up regularly, even when the workouts aren't impressive. Relationships work the same way. Consistency is what builds the muscle of trust. Without it, the relationship stays weak, no matter how dramatic the occasional effort looks. So ask yourself, are you consistent or are you a performer? Do you show up strong only when you feel like it? Or do you stay steady even when it's inconvenient? Because women can tell the difference. They know when they're experiencing a highlight reel versus the real you. And the truth is, loyalty doesn't attach to highlights. It attaches to patterns. One powerful example is communication. If you're the type to send one long, heartfelt message once in a while but go silent most of the time, she'll feel the silence more than the message. But if you send smaller, regular signals, simple texts, small check-ins, little affirmations, she'll feel secure in the rhythm. Why? Because consistency outweighs intensity. The same goes for respect. If you respect her when others are watching, but disregard her in private, she won't trust the public display. If you show respect every time, public or private, then she knows it's not an act. That's how loyalty cements. Consistency also reveals your authenticity. Anyone can fake kindness for a day. Anyone can show up big for a moment. But when you're consistent, it proves it's not a show. It proves this is who you are. And that authenticity is what loyalty latches onto. At the end of the day, consistency is what separates short-term affection from long-term loyalty. It's what makes a woman say, "I can count on him. I know who he is. I know where I stand with him." And when she feels that certainty, loyalty doesn't need to be demanded. It becomes her natural response. So stop thinking you need to impress her with the occasional grand gesture. Stop thinking loyalty is earned through peaks. It's earned through steadiness, through the daily choice to show up, through the rhythm of presence that never leaves her guessing. Because women don't stay loyal to what you do once. They stay loyal to what you do always. If there is one thing at the center of loyalty, it's not gifts, it's not provision, and it's not performance. It's emotional safety. A woman doesn't remain loyal to what you give her. She remains loyal to the way she feels when she is with you. And the strongest feeling you can ever provide is the sense that she is safe. Safe to be vulnerable, safe to be herself, safe to open up her heart without fear of being dismissed, mocked, or ignored. Think about it. You can protect her from the world all you want, but if she doesn't feel safe with you, it doesn't matter. If she can't share her fears, her doubts, or her insecurities without worrying about being belittled or rejected, then no amount of external protection can hold her loyalty. Emotional safety is the invisible shelter every woman needs to stay committed. Many men misunderstand this. They think loyalty is about being the provider, being the strong one, being the one who handles business. And yes, those things have their place. But here's the truth. None of it matters if she feels alone in the relationship. Because the deepest loyalty isn't formed when she looks at what you do, it's formed when she feels she can rest in who you are. When a woman feels emotionally safe, she can bring her whole self to you. She doesn't have to hide parts of who she is. She doesn't have to mask her struggles. She doesn't have to measure every word. Safety is the freedom to be imperfect and still feel loved. And loyalty is born in that space. Now, how do you create that emotional safety? First, by listening without judgment. When she shares, she doesn't always need a solution. Sometimes she just needs presence. If your first instinct is to fix, debate, or criticize, you're shutting the door on her vulnerability. But when you listen, truly listen, you send the message, you are safe with me. A second, by controlling your reactions. Loyalty evaporates in environments of volatility. If every confession she makes is met with anger, if every mistake she admits is punished with rejection, she'll stop opening up. And when she closes off, loyalty can't grow. On the other hand, if you meet her honesty with calmness and empathy, even when it's hard, you're laying bricks of trust that build unshakable loyalty. Third, by keeping her confidence. Nothing destroys emotional safety faster than betrayal of trust. If she tells you something in private and you use it against her, or share it with others, you've dismantled the very foundation of loyalty. Emotional safety requires protection, not just of her body, but of her secrets, her emotions, and her soul. And here's the key. Emotional safety doesn't mean you never disagree. It doesn't mean you never challenge her. It means you create an atmosphere where disagreements don't threaten the relationship. It means she knows that even in conflict, your respect won't vanish. She can stand across from you in an argument and still feel secure in your love. That is the mark of real safety. A powerful example is this. Imagine a woman who makes a mistake, something she's ashamed of. If she feels unsafe, she will hide it, lie about it, or withdraw. But if she feels safe, she'll bring it forward, trusting that you will handle her heart with care. And that is where loyalty deepens. Not in her perfection, but in her confidence that your presence won't disappear when she's imperfect. Women don't stay loyal to men who make them walk on eggshells. They stay loyal to men who give them a foundation to stand on, a foundation of consistency, respect, and calm strength. That safety allows her to bloom. It allows her to give loyalty not because she's forced to, but because she wants to. It's easy to think emotional safety is a soft thing. But the truth is, it's the strongest glue there is. Emotional safety is what keeps relationships from fracturing when life gets hard. It's what allows her to say, I know he has me, not just my body, not just my time, but my heart. And here's the irony, you don't create emotional safety by being perfect. You create it by being human, but steady. By owning your mistakes, by apologizing when you're wrong, by showing her that your ego won't crush her spirit. That steadiness builds the shelter she needs. So ask yourself, does she feel safe with me? Can she bring her fears without being judged? Can she admit her mistakes without fearing my reaction? Can she be her full self without shrinking? If the answer is no, then no matter how much you do for her, loyalty will remain fragile. Because in the end, women don't stay loyal to gifts, titles, or gestures. They stay loyal to the place where they feel most safe. And if you can be that safe place, her loyalty won't just be given, it will be unshakable. Sacrifice can look impressive on the surface, but without respect, it's hollow. You can work 2 jobs, pay every bill, and carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, but if she doesn't feel respected in the process, her loyalty won't last. Why? Because loyalty doesn't grow from exhaustion, it grows from dignity. Think about the difference. A man might say, look at everything I've done for you. Look at what I've given up. That proves my love. But here's the truth. Women don't stay loyal just because of what you've sacrificed. They stay loyal because of how you treat them in the middle of that sacrifice. Do you see her? Do you hear her? Do you honor her voice and her presence? Or does she feel like an afterthought to your effort? Respect is deeper than sacrifice because respect touches her identity. Sacrifice might pay her bills, but respect tells her she matters. Sacrifice might buy her things, but respect tells her she is worthy of care, not just provision. Sacrifice can create dependence, but respect creates partnership. And women are loyal to partners, not providers. Respect shows up in small, everyday ways. It's in the way you speak to her. Tone matters. Words matter. You can't claim to love someone and then constantly cut them down with sarcasm, criticism, or dismissal. You can't say, I'm doing all of this for you, and then speak to her like her feelings are irrelevant. Because here's the truth, sacrifice without respect feels like control, but sacrifice with respect feels like love. Respect is also about listening. Many men work hard to provide, but then fail to pause and actually listen. A woman who doesn't feel heard won't feel safe, and if she doesn't feel safe, loyalty weakens. Respect is leaning in, putting away distractions, and saying, "Your words matter to me. Your perspective matters to me." When she feels that, loyalty strengthens, not because of the sacrifice you make, but because of the space you give her voice. Another layer of respect is consistency in private and public. If you honor her in front of others, but belittle her when the doors close, she won't trust you. If you praise her in public but ignore her at home, your sacrifice is just performance. But when respect is consistent, when she sees it in your private words and your public actions, that's when she knows your loyalty to her dignity is real, and her loyalty in return becomes natural. Respect also means boundaries. Not the kind that push her away, but the kind that protect the relationship. Respect means you don't betray her trust by crossing lines with others. It means you don't entertain disrespect from friends or family against her. It means you hold her in the same regard whether she's watching or not. That kind of respect doesn't demand loyalty. It inspires it. One of the greatest misconceptions is that sacrifice alone should guarantee loyalty. But the truth is, sacrifice without respect can actually breed resentment. Imagine a man who works endlessly, provides everything, but never considers his partner's emotional needs. Over time, she won't see his sacrifice as love, she'll see it as distance. Because what she needed wasn't just the sacrifice, it was the connection that respect brings. Respect is about choice. You can choose to put in the hours at work. You can choose to give up your time for her benefit. But if in the process you choose to disregard her thoughts, her needs, and her worth, then what you call sacrifice feels more like obligation. Loyalty doesn't thrive under obligation. Loyalty thrives under freedom, and freedom comes from respect. Respect doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean never disagreeing. It doesn't mean always giving in. Respect means that even in disagreement, you value her humanity. It means you can stand firm on your perspective without crushing hers. It means you can lead without dominating. That balance is where loyalty flourishes, because she knows she's not just living in your shadow, she's walking beside you. Here's the bottom line: a woman won't stay loyal to what you give up for her if, in the process, she loses herself. She won't stay loyal to a man who sacrifices everything but respects nothing. She will stay loyal to the man who respects her enough to see her as an equal, as a partner, as someone whose heart matters as much as his own. So yes, sacrifice has value. Yes, it shows effort, but sacrifice alone cannot hold a relationship together. Respect is the glue. Respect is the foundation. Respect is what makes her loyalty not just a duty, but a desire. Because at the end of the day, women don't care how much you've sacrificed if it cost them their dignity. They care about whether they feel honored, valued, and respected. And when respect is present, loyalty naturally follows. Authenticity will always outlast performance. You can impress someone for a moment with a carefully rehearsed act, but you cannot build loyalty on a mask. Women are not loyal to what you pretend to be, they are loyal to who you truly are. And this is where many people miss it. They try to perform their way into loyalty, not realizing that performance eventually cracks, but authenticity never needs to. Think about it. When you put on a show, you're building loyalty to an illusion. But illusions don't last. If you're constantly trying to prove yourself, constantly playing the role of the perfect man, the flawless partner, the unshakable hero, sooner or later reality will break through. And when it does, the trust she gave you will crumble. Not because you were imperfect, but because you weren't honest about your imperfection. Authenticity is powerful because it is stable. When you are authentic, she knows who you are. She knows your strengths, your weaknesses, your quirks, your flaws, and she still chooses you. Loyalty doesn't come from her believing you're perfect. It comes from her knowing you're real. Authenticity gives her something solid to hold on to, because there are no masks, no smoke, no mirrors. Performance, on the other hand, is exhausting. You can only keep up the act for so long before the cracks begin to show. And when they do, she won't feel safe, because she won't know which version of you is real. Are you the kind, present partner you showed her yesterday, or the distant, distracted one she sees today? That uncertainty weakens loyalty because it makes her question whether she ever really knew you at all. Authenticity is not about oversharing every flaw. It's not about dumping every weakness onto her. It's about living in truth. It's about aligning your actions with your words. If you say you value honesty, but you lie about the small things, you're performing, not living authentically. If you say you're reliable, but you break commitments, you're performing reliability, not embodying it. Authenticity is when your words and your actions agree, consistently. Women can sense the difference between performance and authenticity almost instinctively. She may not be able to put it into words, but she'll feel it. Performance feels polished but hollow. Authenticity feels raw but trustworthy. When you're authentic, she doesn't have to guess. She doesn't have to wonder if you're hiding behind a role. She knows what she's getting, and that certainty fuels loyalty. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking they have to impress their way into loyalty. They think loyalty is tied to how much they can achieve, how perfect they can appear, how smooth they can present themselves. But here's the irony. Those things may grab attention, but they don't hold devotion. A woman might admire your performance, but she will only be loyal to your authenticity. Authenticity also means owning your mistakes. Nothing builds loyalty faster than humility. When you can admit, I was wrong, I could have handled that better, you show her that she can trust your character more than your ego. On the flip side, when you're constantly defending yourself, blaming others, or pretending you never slip, you're performing. And performance pushes loyalty away because it creates distance instead of connection. Think of authenticity like breathing. It requires no effort because it's natural. You don't have to remember your lines. You don't have to wonder if you're convincing enough. You simply live out who you are, openly and honestly. And that ease allows loyalty to grow because she knows what she sees is what she gets. Performance, by contrast, feels like holding your breath, unsustainable, stressful, and destined to fail. Here's the truth: women are not looking for perfect men. They're looking for honest ones. They're not loyal to a flawless image. They're loyal to a consistent presence. And when they know the man standing in front of them is the same man when the lights are off, the cameras are gone, and no one else is watching, that's when loyalty roots itself deep. Authenticity also creates emotional intimacy. When you share not just your wins but your struggles, when you open up about your fears and dreams, you create connection. And connection fuels loyalty in ways performance never can. Because when you perform, she's relating to your mask. But when you're authentic, she's relating to your soul. And here's something powerful: authenticity invites authenticity. When you're real, you give her permission to be real too. When you take off the mask, she feels safe to take off hers. And that mutual authenticity creates a bond where loyalty isn't demanded, it's chosen freely and fully. So stop performing. Stop thinking loyalty is earned by pretending to be stronger, richer, smarter, or smoother than you are. Stop exhausting yourself with the pressure of keeping up appearances. Instead, lean into authenticity. Be steady in your values, be honest about your flaws, be consistent in your actions. That's where loyalty lives. Because women don't stay loyal to your performance. They stay loyal to the man who is real, who is flawed but trustworthy, imperfect but honest. They stay loyal to the man who doesn't try to impress them with an act, but invites them into the truth of who he is. And when you live from that place, loyalty isn't fragile, it's unshakable. Loyalty is never a transaction. It doesn't work like a receipt. You do something, and in return, she owes you loyalty. That's not love, that's a contract. And contracts can be broken the moment one side feels cheated. True loyalty isn't something you demand or bargain for. It flows naturally from trust. Trust is the soil where loyalty grows, and without it, no amount of effort or sacrifice will keep it alive. Think about how transactional mindset's sounding. After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me. Or, I gave you everything, so you owe me your loyalty. Those words reveal a flawed perspective. That loyalty can be purchased, that it's a debt to be repaid. But loyalty born out of debt isn't loyalty at all. It's obligation. And obligation creates pressure, not devotion. Trust, on the other hand, transforms everything. When she trusts you, she doesn't stay because she has to. She stays because she wants to. Trust is what makes her say, I don't need proof every day. I know who he is. Trust eliminates the need to constantly check, test, or question, because your character has already proven itself. And loyalty flows out of that certainty like water from a spring. But trust isn't built overnight. It's built in the small, ordinary moments. When you say you'll be somewhere, and you actually show up. When you promise to do something and follow through, even when it's inconvenient. When you guard her secrets instead of exposing them. Every little action either deposits trust into the relationship or withdraws from it. Over time, those deposits form a reservoir of confidence that loyalty anchors itself to. The danger of a transactional mindset is that it keeps score. It says, I did this, so now you should do that. But love isn't a scoreboard. And loyalty can't grow where every gesture comes with a price tag. When she feels like she's constantly repaying a debt, she won't feel safe, she'll feel trapped. And trapped hearts don't give loyalty, they look for escape. Trust, however, frees her. It tells her, I'm not loving you to get something in return. I'm loving you because it's who I am. That unconditional approach is what builds loyalty, because it reassures her that your presence isn't tied to a deal, it's tied to your commitment. Trust also thrives in transparency. Secrets, half-truths, and hidden agendas erode trust like termites in wood. You might think you're protecting her by keeping things back, but what you're really doing is planting seeds of doubt. And where doubt grows, loyalty dies. On the other hand, when you're open, Even about your mistakes, you reinforce trust. Because transparency tells her, I respect you enough to be real with you. And that reality is what makes loyalty possible. Another layer of trust is consistency under pressure. Anyone can be kind when life is easy. Anyone can be patient when everything's going smoothly. But when stress hits, when the pressure rises, that's when your true character shows. If you remain steady, respectful, and reliable in those hard moments, you're proving that your love isn't circumstantial. And that proof builds a trust so strong that loyalty becomes automatic. Loyalty also depends on trust because trust gives her peace. Imagine living with someone you constantly have to doubt, checking their phone, second, guessing their words, wondering if they'll show up for you tomorrow. That isn't peace, it's anxiety. And anxiety suffocates loyalty. But when trust is solid, she can rest. She doesn't have to question. She doesn't have to chase. She doesn't have to keep one eye open, waiting for betrayal. And in that rest, her loyalty deepens. Here's the truth. Loyalty is the fruit, but trust is the root. If you want her loyalty, don't focus on demanding it. Focus on planting and nurturing trust. Because when trust is present, loyalty shows up naturally. But when trust is absent, no amount of performance, sacrifice, or manipulation can force loyalty to stay. So ask yourself honestly, do I inspire trust, or do I demand loyalty? Do my actions build confidence in my character, or do they keep score and expect repayment? Do I treat loyalty as a transaction, or do I create an atmosphere where it flows freely from trust? The men who get this right don't worry about loyalty. They don't chase it, they don't demand it, they don't beg for it. They simply live in such a way that trust is undeniable. And out of that trust, loyalty grows like a tree planted in fertile ground. Because at the end of the day, women don't stay loyal to what you give them in exchange for loyalty. They don't stay loyal to deals, sacrifices, or scorecards. They stay loyal to one thing only: trust. If she trusts your character, your presence, and your word, loyalty is no longer something you fight for. It's something she gives freely. At the end of the day, you can do 1,000 things for her. You can work, you can sacrifice, you can provide, you can give gifts. But if she doesn't feel safe, respected, and truly seen, those things will never guarantee her loyalty. Because women are not loyal to what you do for them. They are loyal to how you make them feel, to the trust you build, and to the consistency of who you are. Loyalty is not bought. It's not negotiated. It's not earned through transactions or kept alive by performance. Loyalty is the byproduct of trust, of authenticity, of respect, and of emotional safety. It is born not in the grand gestures, but in the quiet, steady choices you make every single day. So stop exhausting yourself with surface-level efforts. Stop keeping score. Stop believing that loyalty is a reward you can demand. Instead, focus on becoming a man who is consistent, authentic, respectful, and trustworthy. Because when she knows that she can count on you, not just once in a while, not just when it's convenient, but every day, that's when loyalty takes root. And here's the good news: you don't have to be perfect to earn that loyalty. You just have to be real. You just have to be steady. You just have to make her feel that her heart is safe with you. Women don't care about what you do once. They care about who you are always. And when you live in that truth, you'll never have to ask for loyalty. It will already be yours.